Is that good or bad? Really good. Because you were totally engaged. You know, and so there's a lecture up here, to hell with him. Much more important that we talk about ourselves and show you the companies, and this is what we're doing, and look at my colours, look at my thoughts, which is what it should be. How many of you enjoyed doing your mind map? Keep your hand up. Look around. And thank you. You have been in this room hour after hour. No sunlight. You've been working and working hard. And for 45 minutes, all of you sat and created. No chatting, nobody, you were all focused, all concentrated, all naturally human. And you were tired. You know, you've been working hard. The best place to work. Ta-da. Here. Carry it around. Make sure the environment is wonderful. So your mind maps are really good. And therefore, if you would like, we can get the photographer, you can show us then, we'll have a photograph of the manifested genius. And so he's going to come up on photographer. The entire. Sure. These are now immortalized. 13. You've earned a lot of rewards. One of them is going to be your lunchtime break. And I will be there. And last evening, I spent some wonderful visionary time with PJ. And spent working time signing. So I signed a book for you. So this is the book. Use your head. So I have a copy signed last evening for you. But let me tell you why I wrote it and why I am here and why I'm going to be working with PJ and your teams, because I'm coming back to you. That is my decision, my vision, to get more of this kind of information out, and the best working places, the best teams, the best leaders who help make the world a better place. And I will tell you why I wrote this, and then I'm going to give you a couple. You will know why. So I'm now taking you back to when little Tony Buzan was 7. So I'm taking you back to when I was 7. And I lived in a little fishing town called Whitstable in Kent, fishing village. And in that village, I went to school. It was my first school. And you already know that I did not like school, and you know that I didn't like homework, and you know that I daydreamed. My passion was nature. And my best friend was a little boy called Barry. And after school, there were 4 things we liked in school. 4 things. The rest of it we didn't like. First thing we liked every day. 4 things. First thing was ding, 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 ding. First playtime break. Second thing we liked, ding, 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 ding. Lunchtime break. Third thing we liked, ding, 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 ding. Afternoon playtime. And the 4th thing we liked, and we liked most of all, was what? Yeah. Ding, 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 ding. Out. Escape. And my little friend and I would run into the fields, and my best friend would make things fly, the butterflies and birds, and when they flew, he could identify them sort of by flight pattern, distinguishing between a thrush and a blackbird, very similar flight patterns, but he could identify them. And little Tony would go cabbage white, that's pigeon, and that was the way we were. One day when we were 7, teachers on the first bell said, boys, we're putting you into different classes. And it's going to be 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D. And it makes no difference, boys, it makes no difference. It took us a nanosecond to realize that 1A was for who? The top. 1B was for who? Yeah, okay.
Silver.
1C was for who?
Bronze.
Yeah, the average and below. And 1D was for who? Yeah, the dull, the dim, the dull, the dimwits.
Ragas.
So little Tony, little Barry, were put in the class. What classroom do you think Tony Buzan was in? 1B. I think this team has got me in every class. Multiple personalities Tony Buzan. And little Barry was where? Well, I can tell you that little Tony was in 1A. Little Barry was in 1D. In class 1A, all the seats were in rows. The back seat, back right seat, this one, was the top. 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and it snaked down to the front, and in the front right, was the bottom. So in 1A, where do you think little Tony was? Top. Never. There was always a family name boy called Epps. And number 2 was always Mummery. And if Epps wasn't here, he was here. And Mummery was here. And little Tony was somewhere around here. Little Barry was at the front of 1D. Front of 1D. And that's the way it was. And when you're 7, it's the way it is. You know your name is, your address is, your mum and dad are, just the way it is. One day, no, every day in fact, we had tests. And the teacher would give us tests and we'd mark them, and we'd have to move seats. Mummy and Epps always there. Me kind of shifting around depending on the subject. And one day he asked some stupid questions. He would say things like, name 2 fish in an English river. What's the difference between a butterfly and a moth? What's the difference between an insect and a spider? And he gave us more tests and more tests and more tests. And one day, the teacher comes in and says, boys, somebody has scored a perfect mark on test. And everybody, including little Tony, looked at Mumbai and X, because we knew it was going to be that. And the teacher said, Buzan. No, I knew that was a mistake, because I'd always left answers out. So it couldn't have been perfect, so it couldn't have been me. But I had to move, take my books out of the desk, and I had to move, and I had to sit here waiting for the papers to be distributed. But I knew it was wrong. So I was waiting to be exposed and then go back to where I normally was. Because we get used to where we are. You know, I'm good in science, but I'm not good in English, whatever. So the teacher hands it out, and he gives me the sheet of paper, and it says, Tony Buzan, my name on it, in my writing. And I checked with 100 out of 100. And it was the answer to the questions that he'd asked. Name 2 fish in an English river. That, for me, was not a test. There were 101 fish types in the river. How many differences are there between a butterfly and a moth? How many differences?
Butterfly has wings?
Lots.
Lots. Which are more popular in every country, butterflies or moths? And you all knew. But why? Colors, more vivid colors. So the planet loves those colors in those creatures. So I was sitting there thinking that was not a test. But it slowly dawned on that it was a test. So for the first time in my life I became number 1. How does it feel to be number 1? Pretty good, isn't it? How many of you have been number 1 in anything, you know, whether it was cleaning blackboards or whatever you were number 1 in? How many of you have been number 1 in something? How did it feel?
King of the world.
Great. We love to be brilliant at something. And we all are, as long as we are discovering so. So I'm now sitting here and I'm number 1. And so I'm feeling good, little Tony, 7 years old. And suddenly a thought came in like a meteor. And I thought, what? Something was wrong. And I changed my life. The thought I had was painful. It really hurt. It was embarrassing. It was annoying. It made me furious. Why I'm here, like the real why. So, what was little Tony thinking that changed his life, and why I'm here? What did I think? My best friend, Barry. Where was Barry? Front of 1D. So he was below, you know, like nearly 100 kids. And I was number 1. Which one knew more about nature, little Tony or little Barry? Barry. And I knew that. I knew that. So I'm sitting here, number 1. And I was not. Where should little Barry have been? He should have been like a mile down the road to the right of me, because he knew that much more about nature. So you'll be pleased to know that little Tony became a delinquent, just like that. Questioned everything my teacher said. Who said? How do you know? And I began to look. And in every school, when I was beginning to go through other schools, all the time, little barrier. Thousands of them. Millions of them. Billions of them. And little Barry became an alcoholic, truck driver, brawler in pubs. Why? Because his brilliance was totally crushed. So, later on, this Buzan thought, hold on. Schools, like the organizations, need to improve. And so I wrote a book called Use Your Head, which simply said, whoever you are, you've got an incredible brain. Your memory, your creativity, your reading, your study, everything can be trained, can be taught. And this book introduced the mind map. This was the introduction of it on a television series on BBC, just showing the early versions of it. And you even see that in this book, 1974, it wasn't a proper mind map, because I was still developing what a mind map was. This also inspired me into poetry, and also other people. And it turns out that in India, there's a book for kids talking about the exam warriors. And in this book, the author said, hey kids, use your brain. You gotta be smart. You gotta use mind maps. You know what to do. And this man put himself in the book. And in the middle of his book, he says this. Hey kids in India, mind map. This was a proto mind map. But it said, look, all of you kids, use color, have fun, become an exam warrior. You'll defeat the exams, you'll love them. That's what he did. And I didn't know who did it. Turns out that there was a chap called Dharmendra Rai. It was on all the YouTubes. Hey kids, mind map. Published by Penguin in India, and Penguin has put me in touch with Modi, simply saying, we'll show better mind maps in here, real mind maps, so that all kids. So you as a team can work with those schools and those educational systems with mind maps. I'm going to be here, lunch today, bit of this afternoon, tomorrow, Friday, and then I'll be flying back on Sunday. But I made the decision today, managing myself in the context of time, to go to work in India with the teams that you represent. Because you radiate all that energy. And when you mind map as well, so I will work with you and PJ and your systems, and I will work with individual company to focus on that organization and its own personality. And I will do other events like this one under the guidance of PJ later this year. And therefore, I am thanking you for spending your most valuable assets. Today, you've carried your super brain and you've given your time to me and to all of you and to the future. So, I will see you throughout these days and throughout this year. The books are here. I was asked by many organizations to say, well, how about mind maps and mindfulness? And I said, yeah, I could certainly work that out. And working on mindfulness and meditation and yoga all ties together. Because how many of you, when you were mind mapping your mind map, how many of you felt stress going? How many of you felt stress going? More relaxed. So that's virtually all of you. So when you mind map, you will be mindful. As you were today, you totally concentrated. You produced, you generated, you were creative. And this is the first time in the history of the universe that this book has been seen anywhere. So this is like it's a mini launch. So this is going to be launched in March, April, May. But today is the first day this book sees the light. This one is for you. You can have a browse of this. But this is for you. So I will go down here. I have them all waiting for you. So this is a sign for you. So this is a somewhat thick graduation certification. Signed and documented. Do you want to say anything? Yes.
Thank you for this colorful morning. We've all enjoyed ourselves. I'm going to use a little bit of Tony's technique. Ask you guys to close your eyes. Everybody, close your eyes. Close your eyes, close your eyes. It's 1983. India's just won the World Cup and now we applaud. Can we do that? Thank you, Tony. I invite PJ, Buzan ji.
Yes.
Share a small book.
From our side, this is not a book, but I don't think you need one more book. Thank you so much.
I think it's a borrowed gold.
Yes, you must open it. You can have it. You cover it.
Looks like a book. It's a beautiful pen. A copper pen. With a bird. It is a book.
But this is handcrafted.
It's a handcrafted notebook. This will have, and sometimes it's useful, mind maps especially when you're thinking, you can expand. If you're traveling, and you're on a kind of short time base, you have a notebook. And all the great artists had notebooks. Whatever they saw, they would sketch and draw. This could be for mini mind maps. So let me just check before I give you this.
We do a group photo and then we do a group photo first.
You want to do all?
Yeah. Have you want to have everything from here? We can do and then.
Or we can keep the book first and we can have it.
Yeah. The self-management here is that I'm going to give you the book, which makes it beautifully efficient. Because you can then go on the stage.
Yes.
And when I've given the last one, I will go on the stage and we'll have a group portrait group before you get the book. Final test, examination. How many of you here are artists? Certainly past that. How many of you are poets? Well done. Serious one. How many of you are scientists? Some uncertainty. So, I'm a baby. You've just given me a piece of paper. Then I'm a baby. You're less than a year. Are you going to get this back in this form? So you're not going to get it like this. So I'm going to show you the psychological, academic proof of the fact that we human beings are basically destructive and violent, which is why we're in the messed up world we are in. And here it goes. Is that what happens?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Perfect example of the fact that we are destructive. No argument. Except that there is argument. Because this is seen as destruction. But it's not. This is pure. And I mean pure Newtonian science, scientific procedure. Because now, look at it as it truly is. And I'm now the baby talking aloud so that you can hear what I'm thinking. Well, that's kind of interesting. I wonder if that's... Well, I better check the tensile, mechanical, engineering strength of it. Pretty weak stuff. I wonder if this makes musical instruments. Not very good musical instruments. Not much sound. Social engagement. Anybody want some? Economic value? Want some? Nobody wants this stuff. I wonder if this is edible. Better put it in the billion-faceted chemical laboratory. Check it out. Not very edible. Done a bunch of experiments on that. Waste of time. I'm going to the next one. I'd like to check your beard. Your clothes. Pure science. Ultimate science. How many of you, ladies and gentlemen, once upon a time, were a baby? So you were a fantastic scientist. And some of you are still not certain, or were not certain. But now, how many of you are scientists? Very good. So you passed the exam. You are all poets, artists, scientists, thinkers, and born geniuses. Just make it come true. Make it come true. So you now graduate. I shall give you your certificate. And then we'll have the vote.
Can I request all the BEC members to step forward and take one book and then go behind on the stage so that we can take